We spend so much time building these incredible digital fortresses, firewalls, top-tier encryption, super complex passwords. But what if the biggest threat isn't some clever piece of malware from across the globe? What if it's someone with a tool they can literally hold in their hand? Today, we're going downstairs into the physical foundation of our digital world to uncover the hacker's absolute favorite backdoor.
So let me just start with a simple question. Look at the charging cable on your desk right now. Could that thing actually hack your computer? I mean, it seems impossible, right? It's just a wire for power and data. What could it possibly do?
Well, this one can. This little thing is called an O.MG cable. It looks, feels, and works exactly like a normal charging cable, but, and this is a big but, hidden inside is a tiny Wi-Fi chip. The moment you plug it in, an attacker who could be miles away can get complete control of your machine. We're talking running commands as if they were sitting right there in your chair. And no, this isn't science fiction. This is a real-world tool that exploits the most trusted, most overlooked part of our entire setup.
And that really gets to the heart of a core truth in security, captured perfectly by this classic quote. If I can touch your server, your firewall is just a fancy nightlight. It doesn't matter how sophisticated your digital defenses are, all of it becomes useless if someone can physically get their hands on your hardware.
So, to really understand these threats, we need to go down to the very foundation of how networks connect. So, yeah, welcome to what I like to call the Internet's basement.
Now, this basement is what network engineers call the physical layer, or layer 1 of the OSI model. The OSI model is just a framework to understand how all the different parts of a network talk to each other. And layer 1, it's the absolute bedrock. It's not worried about apps or websites. Its only job is the gritty physical task of moving raw bits, the actual ones and zeros, from point A to point B.
So what's actually in this basement? Well, it's not abstract code, it's tangible stuff you can actually touch. We're talking about the copper and fiber optic cables running through the walls, the little RJ45 connectors you plug into your laptop, the network cards inside your computer, and even the invisible stuff, the radio waves that make Wi-Fi and Bluetooth work. It's all hardware. Okay, so how does all this hardware take the data from your computer and, send it across the room or even around the world? Let's take a look at how we get from digital bits to actual physical signals. So, at this layer, there are really two main ways data gets around. On the left, we've got guided media. Think of this like a pipeline. The signal, whether it's an electrical pulse in a copper wire or a flash of light in a fiber optic cable, is physically contained. It's guided right along a specific path. But then, on the right, you have unguided media. This is the wild blue yonder. Signals, like the radio waves for your Wi-Fi, are just broadcast out into the air hoping a receiver can pick them up. How does a 1 or a 0 actually become a physical signal? It's basically a four-step dance. First, encoding takes the bits and translates them into a specific pattern. Then, signaling sends that pattern out as an electrical pulse, a flash of light, or a radio wave. That signal then transmits across whatever medium it's on until finally, decoding on the other end catches it and converts it all back into ones and zeros. Simple as that. Okay, so now that we know how the basement is built, let's get to the interesting part. Let's talk security. Where are the cracks in this foundation? How do the burglars get in?
The vulnerabilities down at this layer are, well, brutally direct. Wiretapping isn't some fancy hack, it's literally splicing into a cable. Signal jamming is just blasting radio noise to kill a Wi-Fi signal. Then there's the sneakier stuff, like signal leakage, where attackers use really sensitive antennas to actually read the faint electromagnetic signals leaking from your cables and even your monitor. And of course, the most basic of all, simple physical tampering, just walking up and messing with an unlocked server or an open network port. And this is exactly why, for any security professional out there, an unlocked server room is the absolute game over screen. It doesn't matter how good your software is, how strong your passwords are, physical access trumps every single thing.
So what does this look like in the real world today? The tools attackers are using go way beyond a pair of wire cutters. Let's take a peek inside the modern hacker's physical toolkit.
The scariest thing about these tools is how they're disguised as completely normal, everyday objects. We've already met the O.MG cable, but then there's the USB Rubber Ducky. Looks like a harmless thumb drive, right? Wrong. It pretends to be a keyboard and can type out malicious commands in just a few seconds. The Wi-Fi Pineapple looks like a small router, but it creates evil twin hotspots to steal your data.
And then there's the Flipper Zero, this pocket-sized gadget that can clone keycards, sniff radio signals, you name it. The whole point is that these threats are designed to be hidden in plain sight.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty scary, right? So what do we do about it? How do we fight back and start fortifying our network's foundation?
Well, first, we have to really understand the stakes. Let's just say an attacker manages to place a tiny, almost invisible tap on your company's main fiber optic cable.
Well, all of a sudden, your expensive, super advanced encryption can become totally useless. See, if they can grab the data before it gets encrypted or after it's decrypted, that digital lock doesn't matter one bit. The physical breach completely undermines everything built on top of it.
So your defense has to start at the physical layer. First and foremost, control physical access. That means locked server rooms, locked cabinets, and cameras. Next, enforce port security. Disable any unused USB or Ethernet ports. Seriously, an open port is just an open invitation. Use shielded cables to stop that signal leakage we talked about, and make sure your cable conduits are secure so the wiring isn't just hanging out in the open. You can even monitor for rogue radio signals. But maybe the most important thing, create a culture of security. That USB drive you found in the parking lot labeled bonuses, trust me, it's not your lucky day. It's a trap.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one thought. You can build the most secure digital fortress in the world with towering firewalls and encryption that's practically unbreakable. But all of that means absolutely nothing if you forget to lock the basement door.